Um, so if y'all would flip to Genesis and chapter 13 for me. So I'm going to start reading in verse number 9. It says, "Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left." Verse 10, "And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly." So I gotta kind of go quick for this because we got another preacher coming up. So my title of the message is going to be Attributes of Sin. Attributes of sin. The first point is going to be sin is appealing. As we see in verse number 10, it says, "And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah." Lot saw that it was a beautiful city this morning, or this afternoon. It was well watered. They mowed their lawn every morning. They all seemed happy. They seemed like they had a good government. They seemed like it was appealing to him. And when I was reading this, it made me think of Eve in the garden, and how she saw the Lord told her to not eat of the tree of life, for you should surely die. But the serpent came along and talked to her and said, "If you eat of the tree of life, you shall not die." And let me say this, that's what's going to happen in our lives. The devil's going to come up to us. He's going to lie to us. He's going to deceive us. He's going to tell us the sin is good. He's going to tell us that the beer bottle is good. He's going to tell us that the needle is good. He's going to tell us all these things that are lies. And this morning this afternoon you need to avoid that. So my second point is sin is addicting. As we see in verse number 12, it says, "Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom." He wasn't quite in Sodom. He wasn't going to talk like them. He wasn't going to act like them. He wasn't going to do the same things that they did. He wasn't going to go to the places that they did. He was just telling himself, "I'm just going to observe. I'm not going to act like them." But we see only a chapter later, in chapter 14, and verse number 12, it says, "And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom." Only a chapter later of him saying, "I'm just going to observe. I'm just going to move near it." He was dwelling in Sodom. He was already in Sodom. And that's going to happen. You tell yourself, I'm going to hang around these people, but I'm not going to do what they do. I'm going to hang around this friend group, but I'm not going to talk like they do. I'm not going to do the things they do. I'm not going to go to the places they do. But maybe he got invited to a party or a cookout, and all of a sudden he told himself, maybe the city isn't too bad. Maybe the city is worth living in. Maybe the city isn't sinning like it says in verse number 13. And when I was reading this, I was thinking of when you're driving down the road and you see a billboard for wine or beer or alcohol, and it tells you need this. It shows how happy they are. It shows how they're enjoying it, how they're living perfect lives with this. It tells you that you need this, but it doesn't show you waking up at 12 in the morning puking your guts up because you have a hangover. It doesn't show the addiction that comes down the road. It doesn't stop from one beer bottle. It doesn't stop from one needle. It doesn't stop from one blunt. It doesn't stop from one line of cocaine. It doesn't stop. It keeps going in your life until it's so big that you can't control it, and it controls you. And lastly, my third point, sin is annihilating. If we could flip over to Genesis chapter 19, and we'll begin in verse 24. It says, "Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain of and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt." Lot lost a lot because of sin. I mean, it's pretty apparent from the scripture that he moved to Sodom because of sin, because he liked it, because he enjoyed sinning, and he lost everything because of it. He lost his home, Sodom and Gomorrah. He lost his wife. He lost his sons-in-laws because they didn't believe him since he had a bad testimony, so they stayed in the city while they burned. And then he ended up just, verse 32 of chapter 19, it says, "Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the seed of our father." He ended up drunk in a cave, sleeping with his two daughters. When I was thinking of this, it made me think of leprosy, the disease that literally rots the skin off your bones. It deforms you, and it made me think of how it was highly contagious, so they had to exile them from the city, and you could hide it at first because it started off small. Maybe your friends wouldn't know about it. Maybe the people in the town wouldn't know about it. And let me say, that's exactly how sin is. It starts off small. Your parents don't know about it. Your coworkers don't know about it. Your schoolmates don't know about it. Your pastor doesn't know about it. And then it becomes a part of your life. It becomes you. It's not small at this point. It grows and grows and grows. Until you're a druggie, until you're an alcoholic, until you're addicted to these things. And let me say this morning, you're not just going to, or this afternoon, you're not just going to suffer in this life. You're going to suffer eternity in hell if you don't accept the Lord and ask Him to save you. You're gonna lose all of this from that one beer bottle at that one party that your friend invited you to. You're gonna lose all of this because that one decision in your life that you said, maybe I've never tried alcohol, but maybe I should try it. It all started from that one decision. And let me say, I'm not just preaching to the lost man, I'm preaching to the saved man. In 2 Peter 2:8, it calls Lot a righteous man, obviously referring to him being saved. So you might think, well, this can't happen to me. I got saved. And Lot was a lost man. Well, no, he was a righteous man. It's just he didn't follow in the paths of Abraham, because Abraham in Hebrews 11:10 it says, "For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God." If Lot would have looked for a city and for a home that was built on God, built to make him walk the Bible way, the Christian walk, then he wouldn't have had any of this happen to him. If he would have just kept his eyes off of worldly things and kept his eyes on eternal things. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm gonna pray us out real quick. Lord, if there's any lost man in this building, if there's any backslid saved man in the city, or this church, that I would ask that you show them how to walk like they should. If maybe there's a saved man that needs alignment, that you would show them how to walk like that, how to walk in Abraham's footsteps. Let me say, Lord, I thank you for everything you've done in my life, Lord. I thank you for everything you've done in this church, and just name, amen.